And we're joined by the head coach of the Devils, Rick Kowalsky. Trenton coming off a big win up in Elmira. 7 goals, Coach. That's the sort of offensive explosion you guys are looking for.
Well, all kidding aside, hopefully gives us a little bit of confidence. But through 2 periods, defensively, we played a really good, patient road game. I thought our forecheck and our forecheck in the neutral zone and our D zone coverage was real tight. I don't think we, they got a skilled team over there. They got guys that can skate. They got guys that can make plays, and I thought we did a really good job of not giving them those opportunities to get going. And they got frustrated, and we kept pucks out of the middle and got pucks deep, and were able to capitalize on some of their mistakes, but also created chances as a result of playing simple hockey. And it was just good to see us get to the net and create those chances, but more importantly, score some goals.
And Jeff Pro gets the first 2, of course, recently named an all-star. All sorts of things going his way right now.
Yeah, again, we talk about him being a streaky scorer, but that first goal, I bet he probably scored about 12 of those last year, where he just comes down with a head of steam on his off wing, and he's thinking about, well, I think everybody thinks he's thinking about passing, but from watching him for a year now and in practice, there's pretty good, probably about 99.9% chance he's shooting, and he has that release. So, again, it's a good thing. Good things happen when he's scoring, and then obviously he jumps on a turnover for them on the second goal, and he's in those spots right now. So hopefully, along with him and a couple other guys get going here, and we can keep scoring some goals.
And he also had an assist on the empty netter from Tony Zancanero. So a 3-point game, 3rd time you've had a guy with 3 points this year. But you had 4 players with multi-point games. Janan had a couple of goals. Combs had 2 assists. Polai got his first goal of the season. Where do you begin with all of this production?
Well, that's how it's got to be for us. You can preach defense as much as you want, and we can hope that we can keep a goal of 2 goals or less a game. But realistically, with the power plays and the penalties, you're going to have nights where you're going to have to score some goals to win hockey games. And looking back on it, at the time, 5-0, thought that would have been plenty. But we get into some penalty trouble, and they get a little momentum and get a little jump, and we have a couple breakdowns, and sure enough, we need at least 5 to win, and then obviously 7 to be comfortable. So hopefully these guys are, like I said, starting to get confidence. Again, we talked about it the other day. These guys, Janan, Combs, Kucharski, these guys all have a history of scoring at their college and junior levels. It's just a matter of getting comfortable at the pro game and understanding the system and realizing it's not going to come quite as easy as maybe it did when they were in their programs at college and junior.
So with the success of the offense of late, and we could talk about it all night here before the game starts, but the way that the combinations have worked recently, the lines and sort of the Ivy line, 2 Brown guys and a Princeton guy, and that first line there, is that something that we'll see at least for the near future?
Yeah, I just made the flip-flop of basically of centerman. Sometimes as a coach, depending on who you're playing, you want to have a gritty guy on there with skilled guys, but I think puck possession-wise, Wilson, Polai, and Pro are probably if you had to say, our top 3 skilled guys from a puck possession standpoint. So I had Tony playing with Willie and Pro the previous 2 games, just again as a reliable centerman, and then had Coombs and who's on the right side?
Nagy? Nagy's at center. Who are we thinking about? You're throwing
I changed my line on the right side. I'm lost.
Kucharski, House? Where are you going on this?
No, we're missing somebody. Doesn't matter. Anyways, I just flip-flopped centerman there and then kept Nagy and Janan and Kucharski have been pretty solid. But I thought going into last night's game, I'd kind of, I don't want to say load up on skill from a first line standpoint, but with Wilson and Pro and Polai, it clicked and everybody gelled, and you constantly see lines change at this level because you only have 9-10 forwards available. So, but last night worked, and we'll stick with it again tonight.
What are you thinking of, Vokes, maybe?
Yes.
How did we both forget about Matt, who, by the way, had a great feed on Polai's first goal. Vokes was at the bottom left, and Chris was right there. And actually, it ends up as the game winner, the 5th goal tonight. So Chris had all these assists as a centerman, and maybe your number one guy. Great to get that first goal for Chris this year.
Yeah, again, and he's had his chances. Obviously, the Johnstown game was one of those games where he had a lot of chances. But again, I like where he scored the goal from and how he scored it. He's a big guy with a reach, and Vokes kind of throws not a great pass, but he has to throw it to an area. He fights off Connolly, kicks it out of his feet, and gets that quick shot away. So again, as a coach, you like to see those goals. Down the wing where Jeff Pro scores that wrist shot's nice, but when guys are getting to those areas, and like we talked about, creating those chances, it's good to see them start to go in.
And same thing sort of with the Nagy, Kucharski to Janan setup. Janan ended up in the back of the goal along with the puck.
Again, I just said it in an opening meeting, it doesn't have to be pretty, but that whole shift starts from getting in zone, getting puck support, those guys, all three of those guys, we talked about puck protection down low, not exposing the puck and making their D really work to have to knock you off the puck, and they actually did such a good job of it. One of their D lost the stick, and then they saw an opportunity. Kucharski gets it low and exposes that guy without a stick, and Gino goes to the net, got the guy all over him. I don't know how it went in, but it hit him and went in, and again, I don't care how it went in, it just went in.
Yeah, and guys have just found themselves in the right spots recently. You've also had a great job defensively, guys just blocking shots all over the place, even without Chris Murray yesterday, who had been called up. The defense obviously had done the job until Justin Donati started to take over the game for a little while there in the second and third.
Well, again, those are 2 leading scorers in the league. I mean, those guys are the cream of the crop and then some in this league. And, you throw Tifu, you throw Gretchev into the mix. And like I said, you're going to have your hands full against that team. I think that Conkel's a nice addition. He's a shooter that can play on the line with those guys. But through 2 periods, we just did a great job of not letting them get any kind of momentum or any kind of speed off the rush, because we got to areas. We took away time and space, and it's good to know that we can play against the top team like that, and not only score some goals, but be patient enough defensively and wait for those opportunities.
And then even when the Jackals started to come back, you guys sustained it and scored another goal. Meanwhile, the Jackals had just beat the Chiefs the night before. They are in second place. You guys are chasing them, getting a little closer. 4-point game there. And you had played 3 division games in a row, actually 4. 2 against Johnstown, 1 Reading, 1 Elmira, and the points maybe not quite as many as you'd like, but you guys a decent stretch in 4 games against division teams.
Yeah, ever since we come back from the break here, no question, and we just gotta stay positive and keep climbing the ladder. I mean, it's going to be a long haul, but again, I've really liked what I've seen, and we've talked about it since we've come back, and hopefully the break has kind of re-energized these guys. But just kind of recommitting ourselves defensively, and then obviously we've a lot of our focus in practice, even though we haven't had much time, has been about getting to the net and attacking offensively without jeopardizing our defensive play. So again, we've seen evidence of that in every game we've played thus far, coming back and backed by strong goaltending, which has been solid all year. Hopefully we can keep scratching and clawing up the ladder here.
Back home tonight to take on the Wheeling Nailers. Quick scouting report on the Nailers. You guys lost in overtime way back. It was a shootout actually early in the season, but it's been a while since you've seen Wheeling.
Yeah, totally different team. Typical ECHL 2 months. They didn't get off to a great start, so they've got about 6 different guys in the lineup. Skilled team, transition team, activate their D. Ganzik's one of the top D in this league as far as a power play guy, puck mover. He'll be very active in the rush tonight. Again, no different than last night. We got to keep pucks out of the middle, not turn pucks over, which we did a great job of last night, especially for the first 2 periods. And you don't give those. You make those skilled guys have to play in their own end. They don't want to. They want to go the other way, and they don't want to waste a shift in their end. So we got to do what play the exact same. We talked about it tonight. Play the same way you did. Just because we're at home here, sometimes there's a tendency to try and play a different game or open things up. And we're not that team. We're not that type of team, and we got to identify that and play the same way we did last night.
Devils and Nailers tonight. Rick Kowalsky, thank you and good luck.
Thanks, Dan.
We'll be right back. This is Trenton Devils Hockey.